200 metres, a length and a half. Arcora, deal done fast. Observer, 100 to go. Grits his teeth. Led 3/4. Arcora. Observer's holding them. He's the stronger. He's the winner. Observer won the derby.
Welcome to Bet Doctor, behind the curtain look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host Scoot, and we are proudly sponsored by Ladbrokes and Punting Form. We're on the quick backup from Derby Day. Got John Walter in studio.
Quick backup, mate. Yeah, full disclosure, I haven't showered. I told you, I've just changed my shirt because I noticed it had a little drool patch on the corner, but we've got a fresh shirt. Haven't had a shower, but the 72-hour Rex owner, so I should be sweet.
Outstanding. Nico, you're well worn from yesterday, Derby Day. How was it?
Yeah, it was a great day out. Punters Day. I heard that I think Ladbrokes and Tab might have had their worst day for a while, is what I heard on the grapevine. So that's what we like to hear is the punters. Hopefully we can get them again Cup Day.
Outstanding. Yeah, they run it super straight yesterday. The hits from us from Thursday's show was She's Alibi, great winner there. The Tenitris form, well and truly franked after he was a barnstorming win. So you were all over that one, Walt. A core of the place in the Derby. So we've got the Quinella over the line there, but hats off to you. What, $17 the place, Arcora. Have you recovered?
I was very... I only backed it to win. I was too smart, told everyone else to back at the place. Only backed it to win myself. I was a genius, but we battled. It was a good day.
Nico and the rest of the team, we all sort of piled into Jimmy Starr, declared him. Autumn glowed, wow, off the parade. She just looked like the Incredible Hulk, and she was just so quiet as the lamb. Wow, she's a talent. And maybe the Japanese horse was a little bit unlucky, and a drier deck could have been a closer result. But J-Mac just put on a masterclass, 10 out of 10. He had all the dangers stacked up inside him, and wow, it was as good a ride as it was a performance in the Golden Eagle.
Yeah, if anyone had any doubts about J-Mac, go back and watch the start. He deletes Nash out of the start, punts it into a spot, then he could have sat in the middle and he didn't. He pushed his way to 3 wide, then built the revs up, and the poor little Shigeki Mariyama, he sort of got forced back to the inside. He didn't know what was going on. But I think the right horse probably won. Pretty much class rose all the day. It was weird, wasn't it? The cream rose to the top.
Yeah, speaking of class, Guru Warrior was far too good in Adelaide. He ran off the track, so he's a bit of a naughty boy, but Bagman shooting very straight, and then Streetcar Fury ran second. Don't have any Bagman. He's still hungover from Oasis, so he's on the tear, Derby Day Oasis, so we'll hopefully see him by Thursday. He might pop his head back up there. Pride of Jenny, Nico, Bong Bong, the Chamber of Secrets, or Benny Asghari's rubber band theory, where she stretches them out and gets them out of their comfort zone. She ran through 40 brick walls to win yesterday.
Yeah, she was outstanding. I think it was really just a case. I've heard a bit of commentary. I don't know if the other horses could have gone a lot faster. Like, she's broke, I think the 1,000 to the 800, or maybe 8 to 6, she broke 11 seconds. Like, she was just flying. And I think if anyone did go and chase her, they probably, capitulate doing so. So I just think we saw her at her absolute best. And I think under that scenario, there's probably not many horses in the world that could beat Jenny when she's at that sort of brilliant level.
Have you ever heard a lower commentary in your life than jockeys falling asleep, not chasing her? They just left her alone. Like, yeah, when she rolls, like, literally, you would have had to be Baywhack and Beedman to be keeping up with her for the, in that middle section of the race. Like, whoever thinks that needs to go back to elementary punting school.
I think we need to get back to the Apple Air tags in the saddlecloth, or just implant these into these Mar runners to see who goes through that hyperbaric chamber at Bong Bong. If she just sat there from the King Charles and she just soaked up all that oxygen.
Mate, it's the simplest thing alive. If you ever a live better or whatever, just wait for 100 meters, because she's either a dromedary or a Ferrari, and there's nothing in between. And I've never seen. She used to have just charged, didn't she? And like, whether she got caught or not, but now she's a different beast. She's either there in the mood or not. And yesterday, that was as good as I think she's ever gone.
And it's fantastic that Tony and Declan have broken bread, because he knows her inside out. We'll skip forward. This is our Melbourne Cup preview show, and we've got another hosted pot on Tuesday. God, I had one result in a multi-leg knock me over to getting all of our multi sort of line up yesterday, given how straight they were running. But it was a tricky day if you're taking on some favourites, which we did across the day. But we've got another Ladbrokes Mates Mode pot there on Cup Day, so we'll let you know all our bets there. So it should be plenty of action, and it's a little bit earlier. It's 10:30 in the morning on Tuesday, so make sure you check out on that. And RWatch25 is a code for Walt. When's your next Mates Mode pot?
About 25 minutes
today, so you'll probably miss that one if you're watching the show.
I think that's it, done for me.
Flemington has got 30 mil to my reckoning on Monday, and then 15 mil on Tuesday. So up to 45 mil, possibly 50, and that's going to fall all across the day on Tuesday. So I'm saying it could be a soft 7, heavy 8, maybe at worst, but big watch on the weather, and it'll hit tonight. So Randwick's clear. Eagle Farm's got 5 mil on Monday, and then 5 mil Tuesday, and they're already in the soft zone there. So we'll be looking for wet trackers at Eagle Farm for Cup Day, and we're going to go through runner by runner for the Melbourne Cup. Nico's got 2 better bets on the program early at Flemington. Walt's found 1 for multis, and I've found a wet tracker up at Eagle Farm. So let's kick off Flemington race 2. It's the MA Services Grand Handicap. It's a benchmark 80 over 2,000 metres, and McDane's a favourite here, $4.40. Brave Miss $7, Party Crasher $7, Hot to Go $7.50, Noonan Liberty $8, Giggenback $8, Navy King at 11, Muffin Man 17, and you can get much, much better the rest. The horse that you've identified here, Nico, is McDane. It's in the red checkers. It's the favourite. It's the 4.40 chance. It's a Mick Kent job.
Yeah, well, the winner here is Zambardo, who I think is going to be live in maybe even these races next year that we're talking about. I think he's going to run in the Champion Stakes. They're going to nominate him. So he's a proper horse. This was on a very firm track. McDane's soft track record, he's had 6 starts for 3 wins in 3 seconds, and he's 1 for 1 on the heavy. He's a horse that controls the pace here. Thought he'll roll forward. I just thought in a race where a few of these have a few queries, Brave Miss, I don't know if her form's as strong. Party Crusher goes 1,400 up to 2,000. Hot to Go, like I could have beat him until last start where he somehow beat Amleto. And then outside of them, like Giggenback sort of coming through some okay form line. She's got no weight. Maybe she's the danger. 13-9 with Ladbrokes early. But I just thought McDane, drawn 1. He's a great wet tracker, and it probably advantages him more than any other runner in the field. He does have to carry 60.5 kilos, but I think that's offset by potential wet ground. So on a day where you could probably go looking for a few of these shorter price favourites, I thought he was a horse that is the most suited to the day given the conditions.
I don't think John and I have had time to
make our way sort of race, a benchmark 80, 2,000 metre race. DK would be pulling his hair out if he had to do the form on this one. So it's my wheelhouse. So I went looking for him here.
Beautiful stuff. All right, 4.40 Ladbrokes, McDane, hopefully bank builder as we lead into the Cup. Race 5 is the next one, the Australian Heritage 2,800 metre handicap, and Lit Steel is the favourite here, $4.60. Aruga Mama won at $1.50 last start in Adelaide, $6. Golden Century, $6. Don Diego de Vega, $9.50. Raging Bull, $12. Fernao is a horse of ours. Waltz, $14. Cadmus, $15. Kaburan is $15. Harland, $16. And then you got 23 or better for Cleveland and Farrago. Horse you like here is from the Bendigo Cup. It's Don Diego de Vega. Nico, it's the big grey in the Australian bloodstock colours.
Yes, you have Quietness who leads the race, goes out, I think it was 16 lengths below standard to the 800. Sadati sits just in behind her, Raging Force in behind them. They won run 2-3. Don Diego de Vega sort of looked like he was going to go forward early, settles midfield, away from the inside, which 9 of 9 winners were on the program, doing his best work late, that last 100 metres. He's a horse who's a really good wet tracker. You look at his wet track form, it's quite strong. I think you'll get a really nice run from an inside draw here. I thought he's probably the run of the race there in the Bendigo Cup, given the way the race worked out and sort of where he was on the track. I thought he ran a great race. It's a great sort of setup going into the Melbourne Cup. Usually we've seen a lot of horses overachieve from that race using that platform, and I think it's a really good platform on the quick turnaround here on a wet track, drawn in. A few of these horses probably have a career on how strong their form lines are, and he's a horse, if he ran a little bit better there, he would have been nearly forcing his way into the Melbourne Cup field. So around $11, I thought he was a crazy price here. He'll be my best result of Cup week, I reckon. I'm super confident on this horse. I'm nearly going to label him here today. I think he's going to be extremely hard to beat. Can't believe he's $11 or $9 or whatever he is. You can get $11 with the odds search here, looking at the Ladbrokes market. But $9.50, that's good enough for me. I'm happy to have a crack.
Outstanding, Nico. And I remember this horse vividly. He was absolutely slaughtered in the Caloundra Cup over 2,400 by, I think it was Hevelon van den Hoogenband, the stable rider. Or I don't know.
I think it was Rider Change or something. And yeah.
Exactly. And then he went to Grafton and sort of duked it out with Quietness there. And my notes next to this horse in both those races was He's going to run 3,200, but just not sure how fast. And I just love that he's in the B grade form here. So I'm going to be
that Caloundra Cup. He starts 750 against Half Yours, who's favourite in the Melbourne Cup. That's good enough line, surely.
Well, exactly. And it was just a total forgive. It was one of the biggest butchers ever. I'm all over this with you, Nico. So I'm not sure I've got Cup bet of the week, but I'll be charging in, and it's just got to be heavily backed. It'll start much shorter.
It went very well in the Metrop and very, very good in St Ledger. Had everything against him, both runs, slow tempos, everything. And so in the St Ledger, it was good there. And yeah, that track was a shocker the other day. I think I can no knock from me. No knock from me for now. It's dangerous, but doesn't want it wet, I don't think.
Gets the extra grey in the wet tick. So just a little cheerio to DK who'd be watching the Melbourne Cup preview at home. Let's get stuck into the great race, the Lexus Melbourne Group 1. And top of the market here at Ladbrokes is Half Yours, $7. Valiant King, $7.50. RIFFA, $8. Prestige, Nocturne, $8.50. Buckaroo, $9. River of Stars, $16. MEYDAAN, $17. One Smooth Operator, $19. VAUBAN, $23. Absurd, $23. Further, $23. Flatten the Curve, $26. And then you've got Middle Earth, Royal Supremacy, Torrenzino on the $34 quote. Then you're getting 41s or better. We're going to do saddle cloth order. We've got the replays queued up, and we'll get one of the stars of the show to lead off the conversation while we're watching the replays. So let's kick off with RIFFA, the top weight here. He's got 59 kilos. This is him in the Irish St Ledger, Nico, in the Australian bloodstock colours. It was a 2,800 metre race.
Yeah, he's just too good for him in the end. He carried weight in this race. I think the fourth horse come out and run well in the Breeders' Cup this morning, and I think a lot of his form lines have been backed up in that race this morning. So there's no doubt about his class. I don't think anyone's questioning if he's the best horse in the race. He definitely is. I heard some commentary that he's maybe even a little bit sort of better horse over. He's not one of these European stays that's come out here and he's a 4,000 metre horse like they previously have been. He's probably genuine up there with their top class over middle distance sort of distance ranges. He's drawn 19. The map doesn't look that great for him. He's going to need a great ride. You've got a great rider on board in Mark Zara. He's a man in the moment. There's been... Since the metric weights have come in, there's been no horse win the Melbourne Cup with 59 kilos. Mackay Bediva may offset that given she was a mare and got the mare's allowance, but she's an absolute freak. 125 time form rating, I think, which is, off the charts for this race. He's weighted up to his max. He is weighted to the page that he has and the credentials that he's shown overseas. And I just thought it's going to be a big ask from the draw to be able to win this. If he comes out and wins, he's too good, but I'm looking to bet around him there on Tuesday.
Yeah, he's a weird horse. Like, I only really tapped into him last night, and they sort of tried him around a mile and 2,000 max, and it's only in literally the last two starts he's got beyond a mile and a half, and to me, he looked pretty steady at 2,400, and then once he's got to 2,800, he's been ridden well and had his chance, but geez, he's gapped them and put them away, and yeah, he adds a lot of interest. The weight's definitely up there, but then you look at the quality of this race, it's not there. Most of these horses are coming out of listed class and Group 3 sort of races where at least he's got proper Group 1 form. So, yeah, if Zara pulls off a miracle from the draw, he's going to be right there. And I just don't want the rain, the 20 mil plus to arrive. I think the firmer the better for this one.
Yeah, my notes are pretty quick here. Ticks out all boxes. He's got a turn of foot. He's earned the weight. Maybe that extra couple of kilos that he got from that St Ledger run might cost him the race. And the other big query I've got, if it gets to that heavy 8 range, I think from a betting perspective, 59 on a heavy track, given he's an $8 chance, I think you have to take him on. That's very scary. It gets very dicey, but I can see him running in the top 4, but something down the weights might knock him off. The second horse here is Buckaroo. This is him in the Cox plate. He's in the blue with the yellow spots. Aussie Kahir, you've got Versestina. He's in inferior ground here, and I thought he did really well to sort of stick on. If they're in different lanes, does he go past Versestina? I'd probably suggest that he does. The problem with this Cox plate is it was a pretty lowly rated Cox plate. If you go back to the replay of last year's Melbourne Cup, which is another really low rating race, he was absolutely slaughtered. It was a massive, massive run. He's got a great rider in Craig Williams, but 57 kilos, 3,200 if heavy. I think he's a really dangerous horse if it's in the soft range, but the wetter it gets, the more likely I am to risk him at 3,200. But I think he's in the race. Well,
yeah, look, that was eerily similar to his lead up last year against Vicestina, where he looked like he was going to go past her and didn't. Wasn't in the Cox Plate, different race, but very similar. And then, as you said, he was they were probably both going a little bit better then, I'd say, arguably. And yeah, I think you're dead right. He just needs to find the rail, save ground, and sort of just suck, and be exposed late, because I think 3,200 is definitely as far as he wants. I don't think he wants heavy, but it's just all about sort of giving him the right ride to give him his chance. If he does get that, I think he's super dangerous, because he's probably got the best, 200 metre turn of foot. I just don't think he can sustain it for 600 or 800 metres.
I don't think he's that greatly weighted. Like, he hasn't won a race since winning the Underwood last spring. I know he's been thereabouts in the weight for age races, but he's off the same mark as Very Elegant when she won a Melbourne Cup. So he's got 57 kilos for a horse that hasn't won for 12 and a bit months. So I think that's a negative for mine. I do think he runs 3,200 metres. He probably doesn't want any further, but he had a tough run last year wide. He was the quickest 4 to 200 metre split of the race. He just probably capitulated right with the run he had. I wasn't fully around him. I could see him winning, but I just don't think he's that well in with 57 kilos.
Valid points. Number 3 is Arapaho. It's in the blue with the red V, and it was just widest there. And Nick's already alluded to the fact that they did go very slow here. Rachel King decided to go to the outside. The fence was on fire.
True Gate One had a tough draw.
Well, it was just out there for a look completely. But do you think it's at its best, Walt?
It was going quite well early in the prep, and then it was sort of jury out. And I thought this run was certainly at least a solid pass mark. We've already talked about Don Diego de Vega and how hard it was to come wide there. So it was definitely a good little clean out. And, if you like it, it's back on track. And if the rain comes, big tick, and it's a Sydney Cup winner. So it ticks all boxes, and Bjorn's pretty hard to knock at the moment. So he's a good value knockout chance. I wouldn't want my last on it.
Nico?
Yeah, and he did have 61 in that Bendigo Cup. The rest of the field dead set have 54 kilos. So he was the one carrying the weight. He drew barrier 1 and then somehow ended up the widest runner in the straight. But the race just didn't really work out for him. First up on a heavy 10 track, he runs third to Vicestina Aliano. He wins the Sydney Cup, really fast run race. He's probably another one that's not greatly in with 56.5, given his class. But he will run the distance and he likes it wet. I thought he was probably one of the best roughies in the race. I had him around 31. The market sort of found him, but I'll be looking to back him top 10, sort of top 6 as well, and get a good result out of him that way.
Yeah, my notes were likes the wet. Not really at his career peak, and probably weighted up towards his best. So knockout runner for me at best. VAUBAN is the next one. Australian bloodstock, blue and white colours here. He was sort of 3 wide the entire. He's the chestnut, second widest on the screen. VAUBAN, and he was probably a forgive run in the Metropolitan as well. Nico, from a yard perspective, like, you've got a really good read on this horse. You've seen him a few times in the Melbourne Cup. What are you seeing with him this time?
I think I had him third pick here from memory from the yard. He's a completely different horse. It's the best I've ever seen him parade. Even watch his parades in Sydney. He was really relaxed there. Caulfield Cup Day. Blake Shin got off and pretty much said he didn't get around Caulfield. So back to Flemington, looks a tick. He's drawn really well here. Barrier 2. He gets a suck run. And he's a great wet tracker. His form on wet tracks is really solid. Tongue tie goes on. That can be a positive gear change in the older horses. Look, we know his class. We know at his best he's somewhere in the mix in these Melbourne Cups. I couldn't really get rid of him given his SPs in the race, his best ratings, and I thought the big tick was the wet track.
Walt?
Yeah, he's a bit of a head scratcher. He didn't go well enough there for me to be too excited, but I agree with Nico. He's just going to suck back on the fence. He's got the right rider to do something. He's going to be, he's a knockout for me, but again, I couldn't have any confidence in him.
Yeah, I think he's forgive 1 run, if you're a big believer of that. The heavy track is his biggest asset here. He's an out-and-out mudder, and he wants it as wet as humanly possible. But he's a little bit cramped for me at the price. $23 is very skinny. He's the sort of horse I can see 23 out to 51, and everyone will be scratching their heads because everyone's fallen into him at single figures for the last couple of years, and the wraps have just been huge. And Nico's there saying that this time in, he's a different horse. So fascinating to see what happens there.
Oh, early in the prep, like the wraps were astronomical at how well he was going. So, and this race, there's a pretty even. So that those draws might be the deciding factor.
He's impossible to back. off that Caulfield Cup run. He was just in hard reverse. So fascinating to see if he can bounce back, and it'll be a great story for Gay, who's looking to win the race. Number 5 is Chevalier Rose. This is in the green and the white and the red cap. So sort of 3 wide punching and just never stops trying here. It's a 3,600 metre Group 3, and this form's about 12 months ago. Form this time in is in higher grade, sort of getting beaten 8 to 10 lengths, but a real whacker, grinder.
Yeah, if it was this time last year, right in the race, it's just whether they've looked. It doesn't look. I had quite a good look at this horse, and it just doesn't look to be in anywhere near as similar form to it was this time last year. So very hard to come into. It's never seen a wet track in its life either, which is the other big query. But yeah, I'm not going to say a flat out no, because at least it stays and it's got Damien Lane, nice draw, a couple of things positive for it, and he's coming out of actual form this time around, but needs to lift significantly.
Nico?
If it was a firm 2 and you knew it was going to be a fast one Melbourne Cup, you'd probably have something on him at 50 to 1. You'd be making a good case for him. It's the wet ground that's a query. I don't think his runs have been too bad, given he looks like a proper stayer, and he's been over 2,200, 2,000 metres. The $31 SP and the 10.0 show, that's a rock solid race. So that's a pretty good line there. It's just a wet track. You can probably pen him given that. But if it was dry, I'd be looking at him.
I think he's a sneaky sort of 3rd and 4th if you're looking for exotics and first 4s. 8 to 10 lengths beaten in that Group 1 level in Japan's good enough for a race like this. And I'd be more confident if it was a good track.
He's a much better horse than Warp Speed, who nearly won it last year. So there's your line.
No, I just like that. I like it. 8 to 10 lengths in a Japanese staying race is good for the Melbourne Cup. It's true. It's sad but true.
Number 6 is Presage Nocturne, white with a blue cap. He's the grey, just on the back of Half Yours and just coming across heels. I really liked this run, and it was there for everyone to see. And early in the race, sort of about the 1,000 metre mark, I'm not sure which runner he was behind, but the poor horse just kept getting dragged well back. So he was sort of sitting midfield and then got dragged all the way back to last, and then had to come around them, make a big run. He got held up again there in the straight. And then once he got clear air, he absolutely smashed the line. And I was actually dead against the horse, thinking Caulfield won't suit him. And I thought the bone dry track would be dead against him. So he sort of blew my head off when he hit the line and just savaged it after everything, just falling in his lap and going so poorly for him. He loves the wet, so the more rain, the better. 3,000 metres is a big tick. And I think his jockey just gets under the radar a little bit. This guy, Stéphane Pasquier, he's ridden in big races all across the world. He's won big races in 4 or 5 different countries. The trainer's outstanding, and he just strikes me as a European horse that is absolutely thriving, and the conditions are starting to go his way more than anyone else. And I think the big roomy track of Flemington's a positive, and he just proved in that big field that he was happy to sort of maneuver around lots of other horses, which I think is a really important thing for a European horse. And there's just no doubt at the 3,000 metres. Like I couldn't be more excited about this horse, in all honesty. Nico?
Yeah, I've once we've heard more about the forecast, and Liam O'Keefe was saying that it could be a 7 or an 8, I think he comes more into play given his wet track record. I thought he had a lot of improvement to come out of the yard first up. He did start, like Betfair SP starts 100 to 1 in the Caulfield Cup. Maybe you look past that, but he was a good run. Would have loved a Australian jockey to ride him. I'm not sold on these international jockeys in this race, but he looks live given he likes the distance, and he is a good wet tracker.
Yeah, it's weird. Like his form, it was so average overseas, but he does look like one that's jumped out of the ground. Like I said, 50, 100 to 1 probably represents what his form was back there. And then, I watched his replay a lot of times. He did get dragged back. The speed was obviously helping him run on, and I wouldn't say he smashed the line, but he definitely wasn't soft. I think the wet brings him back in. I think he's definitely short enough, but I'm not horned up like you, Mr. Scooter, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to keep looking at this horse and he just grazed me up. Oh, he's great.
Pre-Kergolay form's good enough for me, and it was good enough for doing it. And number 7 is Middle Earth. It's got the blue with the spots back along the fence, and it missed the start, which is a really interesting factor here. Middle Earth, it's sort of with a stripy cap next to Revelare there, and I thought this was a really big forgive run. He's since come out in the JRA Cup and dropping back from 24 to 2,000 metres just to get that extra run under the belt. And I just think he had 2 forgives or wasn't fully tested twice. So I think that's why Kieran Maher made him have the pipe opener at Moonee Valley. What did you think, Nico?
Yeah, the blinkers went on him last start as well, and I think that was a bit of a sort of kitchen sink job to get him to put in. I don't know if they were completely happy with his application prior to last start, but I think it worked. It's the best I've seen in parade. He's a horse that I don't think I've seen a horse parade worse and win when he did first up coming to Australia. He was off the map that day. That was because of his UK ratings. If you're just going to put him in off those ratings, you'd have him right in the calculations. He, as you say, he keeps missing the start. He does things wrong, but I think last start was a sign that the blinkers may be the trick there. We spoke to Kieran Maher on the radio this morning, and he gave him a bit of a push, actually. He said he's sort of warming to this horse. He's sort of drawn well to stalk the chances are. I think he's a really strong top 5 chance. I'm not sure he can win, but he'll be a horse I'll be having something on at sort of $34 and probably playing him heavily in some exotics. I'm keen that he'll run well.
Walt, 3,200 and a wet tracker. Does he strike you as either?
I think he was better suited in the Empire Rose yesterday against the mares. I think he's a miler. If it wins, too good.
Oh, let's go to number 8. Yeah, I think he's a knockout if he handles the wet 3,200, but I'm not sure at all. Number 8 is MEYDAAN. He's in the yellow. It was a horror watch, a Tenzi to J-Max. So there he is just whacking away. Well, my query with this horse is that's about as good as he can go over a 2,400 metre race, and I'm not sure that 3,200 and even longer will suit, despite that wide sort of run that he was put on. He seems to do the same thing in a lot of his staying races. Walt?
Yeah, I thought he was a lot better run than the rest of the European. I thought, like, as in, he just cast wide the whole way, working, got speared on the turn and just completely lost the plot, and then again was coming on the line. So, yeah, I thought he was probably the best of those. I thought he went at least as well as the other sort of visitors coming here, and I just don't know how J-Max going to do any better from 22. That's the problem. It's going to probably have a bigger task this time, and even if it is a huge run again, it's going to be up against it. So, yeah, I think he's going to have to pull a rabbit out of his hat, and the horse needs to improve as well. So it's entitled to be decent odds.
Nico?
Yeah, I think the map is just a big query here. I'm not sold he's going to stay 3,200. He's running the Queen's Vase at Ascot over the Carnival there 2024. He loomed into the race and then he didn't finish it off. He ran 4th. He's a bit of a whacker. He's not really a winner and he needs a bit of luck from the draw. So, yeah, I was looking around him.
I think he's a bone dry tracker as well. I've got a big question mark of whether he'll like a wet deck. Number 9 is Absurd with the white and the pink star. I've gone back to the 2024 Melbourne Cup and he's sort of making his run back on the inside fence there, and he just had so much traffic to sort of navigate. Knights Pass knocks him off, and you could probably make a case that he should have won this race, and it's an interesting tactic that they've changed their mind and decided to have the pipe opener at Caulfield. A few days ago, he was under a big cloud, a big cloud around the vet protocols. So he gets Kieran McAvoy, which in a staying race is sort of a positive, but outside of staying horses, I don't think Kieran's riding that well. Nico?
Yeah, I'm sort of around the horses that had the vet cloud sort of over them. I think you just need to be hitting this race at 110%. And for mine, the horses I went looking for, horses that have either raced in the last 2 weeks or run near to their best last start. And he ran well last start, but I'd be surprised if he wins the Melbourne Cup his 3rd crack out here.
First time around, they sort of hit the front too early. He sort of loomed up like he was going to put 10 on him and stopped. And then last time, they tried to sort of ride him for luck and he nearly got it, but it was a terrible, obviously, race and bunched. And this time around, they've decided to try and give him a run here, and he went well enough. He went similar to some of the other Europeans in the Caulfield Cup, and he draws perfectly and handles wet. So I think he's sort of in that VAUBAN. If he pokes up the fence and everything falls over, he can win. But he's entitled to be sort of 20 to 1, whatever he is.
Yeah, it'd be a surprise for me. The protocols are just so scary. Number 10 is Flatten the Curve. He's in the blue here with the red. He's the chestnut sort of going around him. This is the win in the bowling green over 3,300 metres.
Look at those horses charging to the line.
Oh, my God. They're going slow, aren't they? Hey?
And it looks like it's being run a paddock.
Well, it looks like a picnic meeting.
Oh, my goodness. Look at him go. Look at that grey. Follow it wherever it goes.
I guess the interesting thing about this horse, I think he's got some okay wet form on the turf, but he was thumped by Parchment Party on the dirt track, and there was a bit of controversy there in the Belmont over 3,200 metres because it was set to be on the turf, and they moved the race to a dirt track. So if he can give that, he's got 3,700 metre heavy form, so he'll be whacking and he'll get through the heavy.
Yeah, his biggest asset is his jockey, Thor Hammer. It's the only bit of excitement I've got out of this whole race so far is the jockey's name's Thor Hammer. The race is coming out of a horrible... I can't believe that race we just watched. It was called the Bowling Green something, and it was worth $1.6 million. Like, I don't know what the heck that was, but it feels like it should have been run at Randwick yesterday. It's very hard to line this form up, but gee, if this horse is winning the Melbourne Cup, we've got to have a big hard look at ourselves.
It's interesting, been 80s into 23, so there's a bit of a groundswell for this horse. Nico?
Yeah, and he's won 6 of his last 7, and if you take out that run on the dirt track where he didn't seem to handle it all, well, the horse is airborne. My brother Trav sort of went digging deep into this horse, and he found a little bit in its ratings. Matt Hill, who's really across the UK form and sort of, must set himself for the Melbourne Cup every year, given he's got to call it. Hill's given him a good chance as well, and he's been 80s in. I think you've probably got to respect some of that early money right now.
Fascinating to see what the market does with him late, especially if the rain keeps coming. That 37 heavy form means something. Number 11 is Land Legend, the white with the red, and here he is. He pulled his absolute head off.
Do we have to keep showing this replay? Like I'm on Land Legend, Akita Sushi, and Zadozi here. Like, how do I get beat?
So show it again. You might get there.
Oh. Even worse is I gave a push for the 200-1 winner, Nico, and I didn't push the button to have the 100 on. So it's cost me 20,000. So I'm with you, brother. But Land Legend, he created quite a storm when he, I think it was in the St. Ledger at Randwick over 2,600, dropped in, went sort of bang. It was a real wide searching run. But since then, he's been a bit of an enigma. I noticed a big gear change here. It's earmuffs off. Forgive that last run when he sort of pulled. So I think this time I've just been waiting and watching for him to settle. And last start in the Caulfield Cup, he's been beaten 18 lengths. So if you can forgive one run, all of a sudden I've got Joe Moreira back on and earmuffs off for the Enigma. Walt.
He's my horse. Nico and I own probably about 78% of him now. It's just until last run, you swore that they'd put him to sleep for this race. They just put him under a sleeper hold for the whole preparation, worried about this race. And then, he just couldn't pick his feet up in the Caulfield Cup. But he has to be the best 100-1 shot in the race, because if he brings his best and the muffs, come off and Moreira sparks him up, he can win. There's absolutely no doubt he can win. So he's got to be the best roughie in the race for me.
Nico?
No, I'm done with him. I marked him long odds, and Jamie got off last start and said he might not handle the Caulfield track. So there maybe is your forgive in that, but the vets didn't find anything. But but he can't settle in his races. He's got to be dead last to do it, and it's probably a hard task to win from there. So I'm around him.
Interesting. He's still
weak man, giving up.
He did carry 61 kilos over 1,400 behind War Eternal and Birdman first up on that wet track. And
went like a dead set rocket.
This horse absolutely loves it wet. He's a mental health bet for me, I'd have to say. Like, he's a straitjacket job, a bit like Knight's Choice from last year.
I'd like to see Nico's Betfair account about 30 seconds out, and I reckon it'll be green, mate. Just for exactly, mental health.
Yeah, you'd be off the deep end if this horse beats you. Oh, Smokin' Romans, number 12 in the light blue with the white cap at Moonee Valley. He's an interesting galloper, Nico, but looks outclassed here for mine. What did you think?
Yeah, he's probably a horse that's deserving of his spot, given his record over the last 3 or 4 years, but he pulls up lame here, and he did start 440 favourite, second pick, but I think he's hard to back off having a lameness issue at his last run.
loves wet, gets weight relief, and will keep whacking. I've sort of said there, but I don't think he can win the race.
He's a 9-year-old. They've kept him to the Melbourne Cup till he was 9. Beautiful. Just trying to. He must be peaking. Never run at the trip. Never done it. Yeah, he's far out. It's a year where you never said never, but surely not.
It's a weird one to keep persisting off a lameness, but he's obviously past the vet, so good luck to the connections. Number 13 is Changing of the Guard, blue and the white cap. This is him with the big baldy face, just coming to the outside of Gilded Water now, and gosh, it's like watching Smokin' Romans again, whacking, and I'm a big query 3,200 metres here. Nico, have you seen anything you like about this horse?
Not really. Blinkers go on. I thought he might be the leader with Timmy. Interestingly enough, 1, 2, 3 here all come out of the butt coming, so that's probably a good reference for that form. But yeah, Changing of the Guard, just maybe if you run up to that Randwick run, you'd have him somewhere in play, but I don't know. I just think he's not going well enough.
Yeah, I think, do they still have the winner of the first lap, the winner of the post the first time?
Try and back him in that.
That could be his market. Yeah, I actually said to Timmy, I just have it like he drew 24. I was saying maybe you could give it the old Nashua Willer out of the chute at Warwick Farm Ride, just ride the outside fence there, and then they wouldn't know what he was doing, then shoot down,
across,
put 100 on him, and he might hold on. But yeah, I think it was one of the weirder races of all time when they let J-Mac get away with one a couple of starts back. It would be an upset of all time if this thing got home.
Oh, good to see the Battlers have got a run in the Cup anyway. Number 14 is Half Yours in the light blue. Went around very short in the Caulfield Cup, Caloundra Cup. Took all before him, Turnbull, so he's got all the right credentials. Nico and Trav found the good odds early, and the heavens parted and opened, and probably lucky they did, but they're at the right time, right place for Half Yours, but cops the penalty here, Nico.
Yeah, which I don't think he's that poorly in, given he's running at Turnbull here with 53 kilos, or 51 kilos, sorry. So, yeah, I don't think, no, I think it is 53. That data's probably wrong there. Yeah, look, he's a horse that I think you have to have in the mix. His staying pedigree, like, he's bred to stay all day, this horse. He's probably bred to be a hurdler in theory. So, look, I don't think that's going to be holding him back at all. My only small knock was how well the team presented him last start. Like, he was trained to the absolute minute. And if they can hold him at that level, they've done a fantastic job with this horse. But that really did seem like the grand final. Not saying this is an afterthought, but that's probably my only real small knock here is how if they can just keep him at that looking as fantastic as what he did last start, it's probably going to be a tough ask, but he has to be in play. I think he's probably a deserved favourite of what he did there last start.
Well, it's hard to... How do you go around him? That's exactly what the last words are there. It's just like he just hits the line every start, and he doesn't just hit the line. He surges for 600 metres. Like that, the win in the Caloundra Cup was insane. It was great. The last 200 metres, and you know, as Nico and Trav found him early, but he was just a moral in the Caulfield Cup, and I didn't think he had the most charmed running transit. He still had to sort of buffet his way out, loop him, and sustain a run. And I don't think there was anything stronger than him on the line there. So. Handles all ground. I find it really hard to knock this horse, and there's no horse that has a turn of foot and can sustain a long run. It's the only one that I've found, so yeah, I think it has to be favourite.
Yeah, I sort of don't like the weight swing compared to others who were more unlucky in the Caulfield Cup. Query 3,200 metres heavy. Not sure how much more improvement this horse has been in work a long time. Really big yard watch here. So if you don't subscribe to Nico, now's the time to sort of jump on board, because if he's lightened off anymore, I just don't think there's any horse left. So I think he's a good lay at the price around the sort of $6.50 mark. I think there's probably 3 horses out of that Caulfield Cup. If they had a better run in transit, they all would have beaten him comfortably. And I thought he was sort of more right place, right time. So
have you guys doubled down on the mushroom, the old Observer would have won by 15 mushrooms from Thursday? Or
what do you mean?
Well, they would have beat him comfortably.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, he's not for me. I just think he's far too short. Be a great story, and hope he does well. But yeah, probably going to like the heavy, but 3,200 is another bridge that he's going to have to climb, and he's got more weight than all his competitors in that last form race who have got a bigger fitness improvement, I would say. I think he's just probably on zero.
I just noticed one of the owners in there, Guga. That's that Tony, you know, that mad Tony, the poker player?
Tony G.
Is he in there? Tony G, I think he's one of the owners.
He's in one, yeah. I
wouldn't mind being in the box with him and Blogsy after the last if he got the chocolates.
I think he's in our RIFFA as well. Yeah. Dangerous punter. Very scary. Smart cat. Number 15 is more Felons in the white with the green sleeves and red cap in the Pegum colours, and drew a dirty gate. 23, got Tommy Berry, big race rider. Walt, he's a whacker.
Yeah, and he's completely airborne. And he sort of went around for practice kind of first up, and then had a little trial. And sorry, I looked at the wrong horse. He's 500 days between runs, had a couple of decent runs, then all of a sudden bounced out of the ground in the Metrop and backed it right up in the St Ledger in just a ridiculous. They went 25 lengths below to the 600 metre mark there. So a sort of 400 to 600 metre sprint was never going to suit him. He's got form over this distance in the past. Whether he runs the trip or not's the big query for me, but he looks pretty primed to go. It's just the gate again. He's a very good roughie for mine, sort of in the 50 to 100 to 1 range.
Nico, I don't think he's beaten the handicapper. 53 kilos. I think that's upper level for him.
Yeah, potentially, but I agree with Walt. Like, he was huge in the Metrop. Last start, his quickest 4 to 2 of that race, fairly slowly run race. The race just didn't work out for him. Ever since I saw this horse, the first day I saw him at Geelong, I thought, wet tracker, wet tracker, wet tracker. He's barely seen a wet track. The one time he did, he won a Parramatta Cup on a soft 6. I think he'll explode on wet ground. I'm a bit filthy. Someone's knocked him off, 100 into 40s. He'll be one of my best results, top 10. I think he's a really live shout, top 10, and maybe he can sneak his way into the top 5.
All right, good push for Zarafi from the boys. Number 16, One Smooth Operator. He's the beautiful black horse out the back with the big blaze, the light blue and the darker stripes, and Mark Zara. CJ Graham just poured it on, and this horse just finished all over the top of him. So pretty impressive win, Nico.
Yeah, I had a good crack at him. I thought best at sending Parade. He had a bit of improvement to come, which was my only slight worry, but just thought best horse, best rider, got the job done. I thought he should have won by further there. The race shape didn't really work out for him. Look, Will on a good 4. I think he'd be my near top pick. The deteriorating track conditions are a worry. I've sort of pushed him out a little bit. I've still got him $15, so he's right in the mix for me, and I'm just completely happy for Getty's form overseas. I think he's just a completely different horse in Australia. That Moonee Valley Cup win, Geelong Cup win was fantastic last year. He had issues in between the Geelong and Melbourne Cup, still started $7 and didn't have any luck. He was one of those horses wide on the track where it was a massive inside day. So, and Harry Coffey is a great rider of stays. He's one of the jockeys over the last 3 years that's profitable in every staying race he rides in. So this is his wheelhouse, Harry. So good luck to him.
Yeah, they do your head in, these horses. Very similar to your grey European horse as well. Just if you watch it overseas, you're like, and then you watch Geelong Cup win, it was insane. And then the other night they went like 10, like it was just arrogant. And like Zara gets off it, even though they walked and said, you know, at the 800 metre mark, I was laughing on you, it was race over. So for a horse to give him that sort of feel is scary. But yeah, obviously wet's a bit of a nightmare for this horse potentially. Yeah, he probably bumps him out, like you said, a 15 to 20 to 1 chance, like Nico's saying. I agree with that.
Yeah, my query was, can he just put two good runs together in a row? And the heavy track is diabolical for him. If it's a heavy 8, he's a total risk for me. Number 17 is Further in the yellow with the purple hat here. It's now changed colours. It's now, I think, in the Gels syndicate. So good luck to Lizzie having a crack there. And this is 2 starts back at Newbury over the 2700. And he's an interesting one. He profiles as a winner, the Northern Hemisphere 3-year-old. It's an interesting one because he does go on a heavy track as well.
It's named after me, Waldergeist. The sire, I've never heard of that sire. It's so much I'm on the breeding. Yeah, I thought he was okay in that St Ledger last start. Like, that's the real St Ledger. He was only beaten 4.5, but he sort of held ground, never scared them, but held ground. I think if he's only had one run on sort of significant wet ground, it was okay. I think a testing track, sort of decent dry, I could see this horse sort of whacking away, and it wouldn't surprise me for it to be, you know, in the finish, to be honest. And for Oisin Murphy to be sticking with the horse for the entire prep must be a pretty good sign too. So I think this horse has got a good chance.
Michael D, good rider for him. Nico?
I didn't really know what to do with him, to be honest. I just put him in where he was at the market. I think it was $26 last night, and I just went with that price because he's got the right profile. He's still very green, which would be my knock, but he does map really well, and he has had some exposure to wet ground. A lot of the commentary is that he's not going to handle it, but I don't know. He's an X factor runner for mine. I didn't really know what to do with him.
Maybe a keep safe. Number 18 is Parchment Party. He's outside leader here in the blue and white. You can hardly see it. And this is this 3,200 Belmont Gold Cup. It was apocalyptic this day, and he probably needs it to be apocalyptic on Tuesday, given he excels on the dirt, but on a turf track, he just hasn't got the same form. Whoa. Not sure here, Nico. I don't think the class is there, but on pure ratings, he's dropping numbers that makes him a pretty dangerous commodity with only 52 kilos if it's, to say, a heavy 10.
And he did bolt in on a heavy track 2 starts ago, so that's a form reference. Usually those horses that are good wet trackers, they love sort of when you work them in that. They like the deep sand work, and that's sort of what he got there. So I would assume he does handle the ground, but he's just too hard to line up for me. I couldn't have him, but he's an extremely interesting horse.
If the rain really comes, 3 feet of rain, and they move the races to Darwin, this horse could be hard to beat. But no, Mike, seriously, no. Why is it a cup qualifier on the dirt?
Strange, isn't it? No, it was meant to be on the turf, and they
moved it. Okay,
to get the race over.
It did beat a horse called Yo Daddy. I like the name. It's about as much as I could give this horse a chance.
Number 19 is ATHABASCAN. It's got the blue and the yellow hoops, the OTI colours, and you can just see him, One Smooth Operator just goes around him and sort of gives him wind burn. Walt, you know this horse, Sydney horse, ATHABASCAN?
Yeah, he was sort of jury out a little bit on how he's going for the prep, and I thought this was fine, and especially if you give One Smooth Operator a chance. He's no star, and he's 100-1, but does run the trip out ish. He does handle the wet ground ish, and he's got gate 1. So in a race like this year, I could see this horse running sort of top 10. If it wins, I think it needs a bit of act of God, but it'll run honestly and won't be too far away. But it's no star.
I sort of had Wacker weighted up to his best, and I thought he was going better last prep personally. Nico?
Yeah, I think he might have missed his chance. He probably would have been a live player last year when he was in a bit better form. So, happy to look around.
All right, number 20 is Goodie 2 Shoes, and here she is 2 starts back in the Let's Elope green and gold. This is the Stantonera Stakes here, and it's an interesting profile because this day she's got 2,800 meter run under the belt, but carries 61 kilos. And the recipe for these European staying mares to drop right down on the 51.5 limit has sort of worked in the past for horses running sort of bolters at sort of, second, third and fourth. But the big problem is a heavy track could be against, and I do notice concussion plates as well. Nico?
Yeah, she was one that was in that that group that was under query from the vets. They all got past fit yesterday, but prior to that, I think it was feet issues with her. So there's a few negatives. She doesn't get any favours from the map, international rider, and she does bring in just mare's form, which is intriguing. Her ratings say she's probably in it with a chance, but I just thought since being here, the query around her feet and then the rider probably put me off her.
Yeah, she won very average races, I thought. Had a good look at them. The 3 races she won in a row, and then last start when she was in a proper race, just got out-sprinted. So, yeah, I'd have to go around it.
It's many levels below the RIFFA form, but one's carrying 59 kilos and the other's got 51.5. And the vet protocol. Very scary. Number 21 is River of Stars. It's in the green and white. It's in the Yulon colours, and prior to the turn, it wanted to make a bit of a run at them and was just stuck in behind Plymouth, I think the horse was. And I think she just got out-sprinted here. And the start before, I think it was in the Turnbull. Definitely building to something, this horse, River of Stars. What were your thoughts on this run, Walt?
Yeah, I actually thought it had the dream of dream in that race compared to everyone else. It was the one that cut the corner and sort of... It obviously wants ground. Its run in the Sydney Cup was good when it sat outside a really fast tempo, and ARAPAHO won. So, that looks all right. Wet looks all right. There's a few things to like. That Caulfield Cup's just so hard to believe. It's so weird, all these form lines that we're looking at that look good, bad, and horses that have been out of form, all of a sudden they pop up. It's so hard to really trust it. But if you trust that run, then, I think it brings in arguably like best ratings and all this. And then you look at it, was $91 there. Does that play on your mind? I'm not a big SP man. I believe my eyes more than not, but this is a horse I'd probably chop out on it or something, but I wouldn't be backing it with confidence.
Nico?
Yeah, I think she'll be a chop out for me in the race. Honestly, I had 5 looks at her in the mounting yard because she looked outstanding there last start, but I thought it's got none. Like it was like 200 to 1 or whatever it was, but wasn't surprised to see her run so well for how she paraded. I've got her around $15, $16. I think she'll go forward. She'll give us sight. She hasn't won for a long time, which was probably my main negative, but she has really been set for this race. And last start was big signs of life with her.
I really like the way that she boxed on and just got left flat-footed. If you go back and watch the tape, I think she was held up long enough that really took her winning chance out of that race. I thought she's a massive improver on the wet of most of these runners in the field. I think she's one of the biggest improvers on a wet track. So soft 7, heavy 8, and then especially out to 3,200. I think this horse could probably hit the front, and it's just going to sort of be trying to hang on for dear life, perhaps, or it'll just keep motoring through the heavy track. I'm just petrified that something might bomb it late. Something with a little bit more class and a little bit more turn of foot might come over the top. I'm really excited about this horse's chances, but whether she lacks the turn of foot to put the race away, I'm not sure. But definitely a very good draw for her as well at 14. So yeah, I think it's a real live chance, and that was probably not a grand final, as Nick's just alluded to. Number 22 is Royal Supremacy. It's in the Australian bloodstock colours here again, and he's an interesting runner here, Nico. He seems like a tough horse, and everything I hear about him is Kieran just keeps rapping him, saying he's bouncing through every run. He just keeps poking his nose out there too for Robbie Dolan.
Yeah, he's got the right sort of connections, doesn't he? Kieran Maher, Robbie Dolan getting the winner last year. For mine, he just does too much wrong. He plays up in the start. He can miss the start. He gets no favours from the draw. I'm not sure he's fully acclimatised yet to really handle the Melbourne Cup and fully relax and all those things. I think in time he might be a big player in this race next year, but I think it's just all coming up a bit too fast for him. I was hard against. I had him $71.
He was more the jockey than Robbie Dolan in the Metrop. He just pointed himself and shot. He's obviously airborne, the horse, and he's obviously got great ability. So I kind of echo exactly where Nico's coming from. I just think it's going to be all too much. I think he needs a stronger rider. I don't think Robbie Dolan can hold him over 3,200 metres, especially from 21. You would imagine he's going to be, don't worry about winning the voice. This would be the hardest thing he's ever had to do, I'd say. And if he pulls it off too good, because I think the horse has got the motor. I agree with you. I think he's 12 months away and a stronger rider away from being dangerous in a race like this.
I can't believe that every time I hear Kieran speak about the Melbourne Cup, this is the first horse that he always talks about, which is very interesting for me. And I think if he can run 3,200 metres, he's definitely a knockout here. I think he can handle the wet, and I think the boys make a good case. I think he needs a bigger track. You saw as Walt sort of said, he absolutely loved Randwick, so I think he'll love a bigger circuit. And I loved him, I think it was in the 1,800 metre race against Canberra Legend, and then he backed it up on the heavy track at Wyong there that day, and he's just got this X factor about him. So I think
many horses can over race in a Group 1, even if it is a Metrop, might not be the greatest Group 1 in history, and still win, Yep. So he's definitely got something that most horses don't have.
Yeah, he's a scary commodity, but really interesting runner. Number 23 is Torrenzino, green with the yellow, red V, and this is the Geelong Cup again. Nico, this is sort of your realm here.
I think he's huge ticks his trainer. He's had a crack at the Melbourne Cup with Surprise Baby. He's probably unlucky to get beat under the race shape. He's a great trainer of stayers. He's really unlocked the key to this horse. He's airborne, great run in the Geelong Classic. In the Geelong Cup, great run in the Bart Cummings. He's hitting it at the right time. I think he's well in with 51 kilos. I couldn't have him $34, but I think he'll run really well. He's a great story. My horse, Lotterock, actually beat him one day at Murray Bridge. I don't know how that happened, but he's gone on a long way since then. So a bit of mighty Lotterock form here in the Melbourne Cup. But I'm cheering him. Paul's a great fella, and he's a great trainer of stayers, but I probably couldn't back him at $34.
Yeah, I'm the same. He's probably, if he's 100 to 1, you throw him in trifectas or have $1 on him or something, but 33 to 1 seemed very, very short.
Yeah, he's definitely in career best form, loves the wet, gets the weight drop. So, and the Geelong Cup, I guess, time between for the schedule really suits, and I think maybe place or a first 4 chance. He's going to motor through the wet a lot better than most others, and I think that's a really nice gap between runs and that 5 kilo off that Geelong Cup run. Valiant King is the next one, number 24. It's the grey horse here with the Aussie spots, and you can see him held up in behind Royal Supremacy there and Plymouth, and was held up significantly. I think the 2 horses that were probably held up the longest for this race were Valiant King and Presage Nocturne, and he's still having to sort of weave in and around behind them. If you look at the Caulfield Cup 2 years ago, he was trucking and put himself in a great spot and mapped really close. I think Jamie Carr rode him that day, got stood on his head, and he's sort of been in the wilderness until the start prior in the Bart Cummings. Walt, what do you think about Valiant King?
Yeah, there's some magic blinkers around at the moment, isn't there, in Australian racing? They seem to be doing some incredible things, and this horse is sort of one of those. As you said, he's been in the doldrums for a while. Just the 2 mile, and I know he had no luck there. It was sort of held up, but if he just poked his head and just did a little bit more of that last 100, he may not have been able to. Might have been running up the backside of horses, but then you would have been keener, I think. He's drawn well enough. He gets in the way. You can't leave him out. And if he runs 3,200 metres, he's in the finish. He's got 2 fast tempos, his last 2, and he's really switched on with those blinkers. So he has to be in your numbers. It's obviously all about price and whether he runs the trip.
Top pick, I think he's really well weighted with 51 kilos. You could have argued he should have run clear second there in the Caulfield Cup, if not won the race. He didn't cop a penalty for bolting in the Bart Cummings, beating the Geelong Cup winner, the Bendigo Cup winner. The format of that race is strong for the level of race it was. The blinkers went on. You go back through this horse's form, as you touched on, he ran 6 in that Caulfield Cup. I think that's the strongest Caulfield Cup as a whole that we've had over the last few years with West Wind Blows without a flight gold trip. He started $10 in that race. Prior to that, he ran second of VAUBAN, with VAUBAN come out here and was, the second coming. And I've kept going back. He ran second in this race, but it was on a wet track, a heavy deck in Leopardstown 2023, and his last 200 was fantastic. So 51 kilos, I think he maps to stalk the key chances. He can get on the back of Half Yours, One Smooth Operator, maybe even BUCKAROO, PRESAGE, NOCTURNE. One of them is going to take him into the race. McNeil's won a Melbourne Cup, and I think he's just been completely missed by the handicapper. He should be in probably at a bit more weight than what he has. So top pick for me, and really confident in his chances. I think he's a great winning chance on Tuesday.
You can normally tell from a punter's tone, how much they're going to have on, and
shove.
And he's gone back to 2023 to really just build the momentum himself, just so that he could come from the grandstand in and really build up some momentum. So interesting.
The heavy track is the biggest negative that I can find about this horse. Obviously, $7.50's starting to get very skinny, but a heavy or soft 7.
No query at all for me. None.
Yeah.
Look at his international form. It's all on wet ground.
Yeah, I know, but since he's been in Australia, he hasn't really liked any of the wet tracks. So I love this horse, but this is you're trying to split hairs, and I'd be super horned up if it was a good 4 and think, okay, yep, I think he's going to be definitely top 2 pick, but got to try and split it somehow. And if it does get soft 7, I think soft 7, 8, I think it just dulls him a little bit. So yeah, we shall see, but can absolutely see why you like him, Nico. He was something beat there, and was it his grand final day, Nico? Was he set for the Caulfield Cup?
I wouldn't have thought. Only third up, sort of targeting this race. So yeah, he just seems like the best setup horse for me in the race with the map and the weight he gets in at. It's a weights race at the end of the day. The Melbourne Cup. It's not the race that's won by the best horse. It's probably the race that's won by the horse with the best setup and the best weight. And I think that's probably him.
It's the horse that I confused before, where it sort of looked like it either didn't had a barrier trial first up or went terrible, then went and had a barrier trial, and then it was literally second up into that race where Jamie had the brain explosion on Gilded Water and exploded. So, yeah, I would be surprised if a Caulfield Cup was sort of their aim. I think they probably didn't know where he was at, and then all of a sudden he's just gone bang, bang. So, yeah, Nico's got me half chub now.
Beautiful. That's what we're about, trying to help pull the puzzle apart. All right, let's go to our top 4 picks. I'll lead us out. My top pick, no surprise, number 6 is Presage Nocturne. Number 21 is my second pick, which is River of Stars. Number 1, RIFFA, I've got in for third. And then my fourth pick is Valiant King. If I had to throw in a fifth, it'd probably be Royal Supremacy. Nico, you've got number 24, Valiant King on top. One Smooth Operator, number 16 as your second pick. Number 14, Half Yours as your third pick. And then number 7, Middle Earth as your fourth pick. Have you got a fifth for us, Nico?
In terms of like roughies and top 10 and all that, I'm backing ARAPAHO probably top 6, top 10, and I'm backing more FELONS top 10. I'll have something on him just in case they win as well. But yeah, I think Valiant King's going to be my best result. Probably making Middle Earth a good winner in the race. And then I probably maybe have a few chop outs, maybe Half Yours. One Smooth Operator, I'd be a lot more confident if it was a soft 6 and a heavy 8. And the horse, doing all the form this morning in the preview shows, I think Presage Nocturne, I've probably got to warm back up to a little bit as well.
All right, Walt, your top pick is Half Yours, so you're going for the Caulfield Cup, Melbourne Cup double. Number 24 is your second pick, Valiant King. Number 2, BUCKAROO, and number 1, RIFFA. And then your fifth pick is One Smooth Operator.
Yeah, I think, is that right? Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, I go looking for horses that can sustain runs here and sort of have a bit of turn of foot and get themselves out of trouble. And that's, I just sort of kept coming back to that top end. Yeah, like more FELONS, Land Legend are the two mega roughies I'll be chiming into too. But full disclosure, I'm definitely not as horned up as you boys here. This race is just another race on the card for me this year, but I'll be cheering hard.
All right, if you want further insights, make sure you check out Nico's Yard, get on his Patreon account, and it's a super service, 3 to 5 minutes before the jump. He's actually been dropping it a little bit earlier, which is very polite and handy, given there's some massive delays on course. I'm not sure how they're doing it, but Flemington really need to pull their socks up and get some more sell power in all the private Discord chats that I'm in. Everyone's blowing up deluxe at how hard it is to get a bet on their mobile phone. So it's a bugger if you go on the races, but make sure you get Nico's Yard, because he's going to give you the insights and he'll be there with his eyes on ponies, and it's going to be pretty important with a couple of these condition wise, especially those favourites, especially Half Yours, I think. Let's see what horse is left. Let's head to Randwick and have a quick look on Cup Day. Let's try and find your winner. It's race 2. It's the Druitt Street Highway to Hell Class 3000. And Petticoat's the favourite here. $1.95 favourite. Impendor, $7. Mike Drop, 7. Master of Skies, 10. Chemtrail, 11. Horse name for me. Helinda, $18. And you got Pellet, $19. Here's Petticoat, 2 starts back. It's got the big baldy face. It's up leading.
Yeah, punched through, just kept punching through on the inside here. And I think it's Master of Disguise running about 4th on its back. So it's in this race as well. Just all honours to this horse, just sustained speed the whole time. Wasn't one of these highways where they sort of handed it to it on a platter. I think it's a decent horse down the outside. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. It's been a long day in the Masara colours. But yeah, super strong, I thought, there, Petticoat.
And this is last starts behind Preeminence up in Queensland, and it just sort of just comes off its back, and this is a decent horse.
Yeah, it was driven hard to lead, and then this horse took the lead off it and sort of made it chase, and this said Preeminence is a pretty good horse. This is Saturday proper form, 78, I think it is, rating sort of race, and I think Preeminence has won 4 of its last 6 and has been machine up there since it went to Uncle Barry. So, yeah, no nice little margin behind. I just think this horse will do something very similar on Saturday. Just roll forward with the claim. Think it's a smart claim. It's drawn ideally to have options if the outside horses want to push on, can take a sit, or if it gets handed the front, it'll just lead and be very, very, very hard to stop over 1,000. Impender's first up. It's had 2,000 metre barrier trials. It's probably the danger on class, but 1,000's as short as it wants for sure. And as you sort of Master Disguise is handled by Petticoats first up, went to a 12.50 second up, which was a bit weird, and then has trialled okay since. The rest of them are just very steady horses. So it's $1.95, not very hard to find. And on a day that is pretty tough at first look, I just thought it was a bit of a layup for multi-players.
Randwick Race 2, number 1, Petticoat on Cup Day. Have a quick look at 1 only at Eagle Farm, and race 5 is the race I'm going to have a look at. Allied World Plate Class 6 handicap over 1,000 metres. Longro's Queen $4, Speedy One $4, Mean Approach $4.80, Bonded Affair $7.50, Wild Botanica $11, Cosmic Beauty $12, Espresso $13, and Vegas Raider $14. Horse I like here is Longro's Queen, and this is its last start at Rose Hill over 1,100 in a soft ground, and High Dubai is the winner of the race, back on the fence. And the start before was as interesting over the 1,000 metres, where it got checked and it slashed home and only got beaten 2.3 to Lulamon and stormed the rampart. So I'm saying Class 6 1,000 metre form, this horse with edge off the track will be perfect. And we'll just have a look at its trial there. It's back last and wide, and Vodka Martini is winner of this trial in the green. She goes all right, and so does Swiss Exile, and the widest is Longro's Queen. So more rain at Eagle Farm, and the handlebars will just be down here, and the Munt stable have already knocked the price off. I think it's been $6 into $4, and I think it's the winner of the race. They're just going to all go like the clappers up in front, and I think she'll just have the last shot at them, and she'll be super hard to hold out, Longro's Queen, stepping back in grade up to Eagle Farm, over 1,000.
Yep, no knock.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. I nearly fell over when I saw her pop up at Eagle Farm, especially when it went to the Munt stable. So going to be a great day. Make sure you head to the Ladbrokes Mates Mode area, littlebirdie.tv for our summary tips. We'll put some of our best bets up. Boys are all under the pump. Nico, big thanks from me. I know you're under the pump today, so good luck on Cup Day. And Walt, big thanks to you as well. Racingwatch.com.au for more of his action. And it's going to be fast, furious betting. And God, I say it every year. Can't believe we're only one day of 4 through the carnival, but make sure you head to littlebirdie.tv for all the insights, all the tips, and we'll be back on Thursday for our preview show for Champions Day for next Saturday. It looks like an absolute ripper. Make sure you gamble responsibly. We'll see you soon.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.